Good evening.
Please note the meeting is being recorded.
Good evening. It is this last of our council meetings in the year of 2020. We're going to get this one behind us. And so I welcome everyone to the council meeting that is virtual tonight, video conference. There will be a public comment period. If you want to call in on a public comment, please call at the appropriate time. The screen's going to come up and tell you that it's time to call. And I will also mention that it's time to call. The number's 225-621-8636. And you're going to enter a participant code 939496. I'm going to repeat all that again in a little bit. But I thank you, all of you who are watching. I thank all the members of the council for being here tonight. Madam Secretary, we are missing Mr. Turner. At this time, I'd like to call this meeting to order, and I will ask Mr. Ogeron if he will please lead us in prayer and the pledge.
There we go. Thank you, Ms. Castle. Would everyone please prepare yourselves for prayer? Lord God, we want to thank you for the many blessings you have bestowed upon us. Lord, we realize that we're a little over a week from celebrating the birth of your son, and we realize the sacrifices that were made for us here on earth. Lord, allow this group to serve you with might, to serve you with honor and integrity as we move forward, representing the citizens of Ascension Parish. And Lord, please bestow those blessings on those of us currently in need of your love and your care. And for all of those in our community who are celebrating this year without loved ones that they may have lost. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And justice for all.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So Travis has still not joined us, Cinnamon. So there are no chairs additions. I will comment that we will be pulling item 6I. We're going to pass on that item. The BASF, I understand, is just not quite ready for that item yet. And Cinnamon, Mr. Turner has joined us. Hi, Travis. Welcome. Give us you're going to need to get your volume on. Travis seems to be having technical difficulties, so we'll just proceed until he joins us again. At this time, we will have a public, at this time, the secretary is going to read the entire agenda, and then we're going to have a 30-minute time period for folks to call in. During that time, the parish president will be giving his report. So I'll announce that as soon as we get the public hearing underway. Keep in mind that in those ordinance introductions later, the public hearings will not be repeated. There's one public hearing period. That public hearing comment number will be repeated shortly. Cinnamon, you want to go ahead and read the agenda?
Update on sewer negotiations. Approval to seek Attorney General's opinion on subsidizing funds from the general fund. Approval to amend contract with Intellicom Communications to correct a typo in the not to exceed amount from $79,500 to $77,500. Amendment number 1 to professional services contract with Enmon Enterprises doing business as Jana King of Baton Rouge to include cleaning schedule for newly constructed courthouse, additional amount of $120,000. Certificate of substantial completion for Donaldsonville Water Treatment Plant and Search and Valve, the Lemoyne Company. Approval of partial substantial completion phase 1 of the Ascension Parish Courthouse, the Lemoyne Company. Directive to parish administration to go out for requests for qualifications for insurance agent of record. Amendment number 1 to a professional services contract with Curtis Environmental for sampling, testing, and reporting for LPDES permit compliance for all ACUD number 2 sanitary facilities owned by Ascension Parish. Renewal of master contract for professional services with Total Energy Solutions Company, LLC, not to exceed $40,350 for maintenance of generators at various locations around the parish. Approval of balance and change order number 1 for the Ashland to St. Landry Connector Project. Approval of substantial completion for the Ashland to St. Landry Connector Project. Introduction of ordinance to amend the Ascension Parish zoning map from medium intensity residential to light industrial zoning review ID PZ 2449.20 Lot A1 of the subdivision of Lot A and Lot B of the estate of Mary R. Palmer into lots A1 and AB for Colby Palmer, located on the south side of LA Highway 74, approximately 3,000 feet west of Airline Highway. Introduction of ordinance to amend an ordinance adopted on June 4, 2020, amending section 16.1 of the Ascension Parish Code of Ordinances adopted by the Ascension Parish Council on June 20th, 1996, adopting a pay classification plan. Reading of ordinance to amend Chapter 18, Article 9, Section 1890, Ascension Parish Communications District to mandate the commissioners be appointed by various government or public safety entities. An ordinance to amend Chapter 18, Article 9, Section 1890, Ascension Parish Communications Districts to mandate that commissioners be appointed by various government or public safety entities. Reading of ordinance to create a road infrastructure district designated as Parish of Ascension Road Infrastructure District number IDD 2020-04 Pelican Crossing, 5th filing pursuant to the Ascension Parish Unified Land Development Code Appendix 4 Subdivision Regulation Section 174011 Approval of Final Plat Procedure F Infrastructure Development District. And there's an ordinance to adopt in that for that same IDD.
Can you send me that
very
link?
much, Senator.
Yes, sir. I don't know why I can't find it.
Thank you very much, Cinnamon. I appreciate all of that. And at this time, we will do two things. We're going to go into that public comment period. And the public needs to be aware that the telephone number is 225-621-8636. And the participant code is 939496. We'll go into that public comment period. Once we get underway, then we will go into item 5, which is the parish president's report while we're waiting through that period. Cinnamon, have them let me know when they're ready for the parish president's report.
Yeah, he can start now.
Okay. Mr. President, welcome this evening. Glad to have you with us. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to y'all. Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, Council. Can everybody hear me fine?
Yes, sir.
Good. First, I wanted to give the full council and our residents an update on the sewer negotiations. We have 3 major milestones that I will be reporting on tonight. The first milestone is the operating agreement is 90% complete. We have a couple details to work out, but I'm confident that all these issues will be resolved. Milestone 2, reaching an agreement on the appraised value. We're told that the appraisals will be ready in the first part of January. I think and hope this will be a simple and quick negotiation. Milestone 3, the April election to get the voters' approval. We're excited about the clean waters and the savings of millions of dollars in subsidies with parish sewer. The administration is confident with the unified front of both the administration and the council. With an organized effort, the voters will approve this contract. Now from exciting news for our fishing community. Today, we had 1,001 pound rainbow trout were stocked in the pond at Lamar Dixon. This is done yearly, and the fish were purchased from the Crystal Lake Fisheries in Missouri. So we're excited about that, and we're excited about people coming to visit Lamar Dixon to do some fishing. Keeping with that same theme, last week we completed with our councilman, John Cagnolati and Kate MacArthur, our second small business spotlight with filming of Ascension Parish Living and Outdoors. This video can be viewed on Channel 21, YouTube, and our Facebook page, which showcases how businesses started, their location, products, and much more. the holiday season, we encourage everyone to shop locally owned and operated businesses. As we continue to follow the recreation theme, the parish has also dedicated an area of Prairieville Park on Highway 929 and Causey Road that will be converted into a dog park. So we're excited about that as well. Our communications department is working with LinkedIn to develop a parish page that will be able to list all of our future job openings, which will attract a wider audience. The goal is to have this operational by the end of this year. Our human resources department has been very busy. They have completed the insurance open enrollment for renewals and signups. If anyone has missed it, there's still a little more time left to complete this. We will be hosting a Christmas tree recycling program that will be running from Monday, December 28th through January 19th at Lamar Dixon Expo Center. The trees will be shredded and mulched. We ask that all decorations and tree stands be removed before bringing the Christmas trees. This coming Tuesday, December 22nd, we'll be having a ribbon cutting ceremony at 10 a.m. at the Modest Fire Station on River Road. We hope to see everyone there. And that'll be Tuesday, December 22nd at 10 a.m. This week, your parish government partnered once again with Ochsner Health Systems to provide free coronavirus testing at Lamar Dixon. Yesterday and today, we had a total of 235 people come through for testing. So we want to thank the professionals at Ochsner Health System for assisting us in Ascension Parish with those testing. We're also happy and excited to announce that starting next week, testing will be provided by the Louisiana National Guard at Lamar Dixon every day from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., completely free. Once we have the official start date, we will publicize this on Facebook, press release, and Channel 21. Ascension Parish's percent positivity rate is at 13.6. That's 13.6. We need all of our citizens to continue wearing masks, washing hands, and practicing social distance. I know the holiday season this year will be really tough for all of us, but it's very important to do our part. If anyone has symptoms, please go get tested. COVID-19 has affected everyone and our parish utility department as well, and there are no exceptions. On November 12th, our entire water distribution department and a few of our members of the office staff were infected and have been exposed to COVID virus. 7 employees were quarantined and 1 employee was unfortunately transported to the emergency room. Employees had to remain quarantined for 10 days and had to receive negative COVID test results before returning to work. To say the least, there's limited ability to complete all the meter readings. However, there was no effect on water supply or quality. We also received assistance from the city of Gonzales. Again, this is the second time to make leak repairs during the quarantine period. We really want to thank Mayor Arsenault and CAO Scott Burr for their assistance. They've been great partners with us through this COVID time. PUA, ACUD1 have also worked with our customers to provide flexibility in their payments. If a customer is having difficulty earlier in the year, this council approved a payment plan for customers needing assistance due to the pandemic. The plan will be implemented to assist in this case and is outlined as follows. Number 1, currently no one has been billed more than their normal monthly water usage. Second, Route 82 through 112 were not read in November, and those customers will not receive a November bill. 3, customers on the above stated routes are asked to pay the same amount as they paid in October. Number 4, the November missed readings will show on the January bill. However, the amount paid in December will be applied to their account, and no customer has been nor will be billed more than 1 month for water use of that water use. If the December payment is made, the customer should not see any significant increase in their normal monthly payment for normal water usage. Also, penalties and late fees will be waived for these customers until the end of the first quarter of 2021. If a payment assistant is still needed, the water office will assist with the customer with a payment plan at the customer's request. Payment agreements must be made by February disconnect date. This applies to customers on the affected routes. Finally, I'd like to share a compliment I received today from Mr. Joe Costello. My name is Joe Costello, and I work for the state of Louisiana in disaster recovery. Our agency is called GOSEP. Earlier this year, I was assigned state contact for Ascension Parish government to assist on any federal disaster. Obviously, this year I have spent a lot of time with the parish emergency management staff. Most of my work is with Michelle Rayborn, Rachel Wilkerson, and the personnel from All South Consulting. I find the staff to be outstanding to work with. They are professional, consistent, and very reliable when it comes to performing their jobs. In my opinion, they represent parish government in such a positive way that you should be proud to have these folks as part of your team. Compliments like that, I thought it was profound enough to share with the council tonight and the citizens of Ascension Parish. And that will conclude my report tonight, Chairwoman. Thank you so much. And I'll take any questions if there are any.
Thank you, Mr. President. I see a hand up, Mr. Thomas.
Thank you, Chair Lady, and thank you, Mr. President, for a well-spoken report. But I do have some things that I need to say about the double water bill. This came about on yesterday in talking to you all about this, and I see you took the initiative to come on and explain everything that needed to be to the public, that they need to know what's going on, because I had a lot of my constituents was not notified of their water bill going to be doubled, and I got many calls asking me what was going on. And you just came on and you did an excellent job in doing so and explaining that to those two of my constituents. Again, I still feel like we should have communication to them by email or mail, and you said you were going to do that. Again, we've been lacking communication when it's come to the water, when it come back to the water company back here. We are trying to communicate to them, to us, after they get large bills. And we talk about being, a lot of time, I hear you talk about being transparent. And I get the calls from the residents. Again, there's no communication, Mr. President, to me. We put the cart before the horse, all right? And we send them a bill, and then we try to explain, like you just did tonight, trying to explain the plan after we have done what we did. This doubling of a water bill is happening at a time, and I can truly say, I've talked about this before. We talked about the doubling of the water bill at this time when the people are experiencing hardship, hard times, people are sick. And just come on. We can do better than this, a whole lot better than what we're doing. Allow us to use common sense on some of this stuff. We have trouble, we have problems that we need to correct, and need to correct them quickly at no cost. Communication and transparent like this, always, we should begin to use it.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Appreciate you.
I haven't finished.
I'm sorry, sir.
I'm not finished. I talked to Mr. Joe Robert today, Mr. President. What's the difference between me and Joe? I'm an elected official just like he's an elected official. And yet, and what I'm getting at is this, and I want you to hear me clearly and precisely. I'm getting at, yet you thought in your mind that it was important enough to call and discuss the PUA with Mr. Robert. But yet you didn't call me to talk to me about any of it. But you did not. And it was not important enough for you to call me and discuss the PUA water service, Mr. President. Yet you feel again to show me that courteous of spirit of cooperation and professionalism in our relationship as a parish elected official. Mr. President, then my only option is to ask you again, what is the difference that you see through your eyes between me and Joe? What do you see that would lead you to communicate with one councilman and not to communicate with the other councilman, representing the same people? Even after you have received written notice from me, I'll give it to you. The cooperation and communication with you, Mr. President. You choose to withhold that communication and professionalism. Mr. President,
Mr. Thomas.
that is a slap in the face. You can smile and you can laugh. It's a smack in the face that this council and the people of this parish, you can do better. We expect you to do better. We would hope that in the
Mr. Thomas.
future, you're strong enough to do better.
Mr. Thomas, are you through, sir?
Yes, I am,
finished?
Ms. Chairwoman. Yes, I am through. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Mr. President, if you would like to respond, certainly, please do.
Sure, absolutely. Coach, I want to thank you for bringing it to our attention, first of all. We had an opportunity to look into it, and that's why it was presented in my report. I do also want to apologize to Chairwoman Casso, Councilman John Cagnolati, Councilman Corey Ogeron, Councilman Dow Wagasback, Councilman Errol Lawler, Councilman Travis Turner for not contacting them today. I had a busy day. It was my first day back from vacation. So I apologize to all the councilmen, including you, Mr. Thomas, for not contacting them. If you all please accept my apology for a busy day on back from my vacation. Thank you, Chairwoman. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ogeron.
Yes, ma'am. I got some more questions.
Hold on, Mr. Thomas. Mr. Ogeron's next. I'll get back to
Where did
you.
you go on vacation?
Went to Mexico.
You went to Mexico.
I did.
I'm glad they let you come back.
Me too. It was iffy when I was in the airport.
That's all I had for you. Did I hear you say it's front right? It was your birthday as well?
No.
No, okay, I misheard that part. I was gonna wish you a happy birthday, forget it. Good luck. Congratulations on making it back here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas.
I have one other question, Mr. President. Mr. John Diaz, I've been talking about the raise for the employees, and it's my understanding that we'll be giving them a raise next year. We won't have it this year. We'll be having a raise for those employees next year. And the raise at this time, if I'm incorrect, please correct me. The raise is 1.3%. Is that correct?
Okay, so the COLA raise is given at the end of this year. This is the cost of living raise. The merit raise is when we get the performance evaluations done, will be given on the merit based. So some people will get two raises based on their performance, but everyone gets the cost of living raise across the board, and that's the end of this year. And that is comparable with what the sheriff's department does, what the school board does, and many of the other parishes. And yes, it is 1.3%. That is correct.
So 1.3% to the average worker, I would think is very little. But again, they deserve much more than the 1.3 in beginning. And I know I'm harping on this, but they really worked hard. It's nothing that we are giving them. They earned that raise, the 5% raise that was put in the budget for them. They earned that raise, and I think they should be given that raise. And in spite of the COVID, the stuff that's going on with the pandemic and the things that's working out, I still feel like they deserve it. They need it. People are hurting right now. People are losing their jobs, and there's just so much going on. And I'm not sure what all went into giving them the 1.3%. But again, I disagree with that. But if that's what you're gonna give them, then I assume that's what they get. But I'm not in concurrence with 1.3%. I wanted the 5% raise like they were supposed to have from the beginning of the year. And that's all I have to say, Ms. Chair Lady. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay, any other questions at this time? Mr. Melanson?
Yeah, to Coach's point about the raises, I just like to point out with the COVID pandemic going on right now, thousands upon thousands of Ascension Parish citizens have either lost their job, had a decrease in their salary, or been furloughed for a certain amount of time. The residents are the ones who pay the taxes, who pay our parish employees. I mean, we have thousands of people whose salary has been cut or taken away completely. I know for myself, my salary was decreased for roughly 4 months. So 1.3% raise in this kind of economy with everything we have going on, I believe is on the side of generous and not, anything less than they deserve right now. It doesn't have anything to do with the parish employees. It's where we're at financially, and it's more than generous at this time.
All of this will be open to debate, gentlemen, later in this, in the agenda. So what I'd like to do is find out where we are in the call-in period and then reserve further debate on this issue when we get to that item on the agenda.
We have 2 minutes left.
Well, that's just about perfect. Thank y'all for that. Or do we have anyone calling in who wants to comment, Senator?
Not as of right now. John's going to check.
Okay. I do want to make a mention. I mistakenly said we were going to be passing on item 6I, and it's item 6L. Forgive me for that. That is the one that we will be passing on.
No callers.
All right. Thank you very much. Ms. Dempsey, are you trying to get my attention?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, and Mr. President, what other costs besides the increase in the insurance are the employees are going to face here in the year to come? I know it's been a downturn in this pandemic. I mean, it's set back a lot of people, but with the increase of the insurance and the different things that are happening, I mean, I know the school board, they're going to get a one-time lump sum, and I think they're going to get something else. So I hope we can get something for the employees, like they say, a little bit more. But are there any other things that we need to be looking out for besides the increase on the insurance? Thank you.
Clint, you're muted, sir.
Yeah, Councilman Lambert, percent on those actual, we'd love to kind of get those numbers together and probably present that at finance or the next council meeting. I'm somewhat unprepared to give those numbers to you at this time, but happy to do so at either of those venues.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, very good. So the call-in period has ended. There are no other questions that I'm aware of from Mr. Cagnolati.
Yes, Madam Chair. I just heard the President's comments. I'd be happy to schedule that on the Finance Committee agenda for January.
Very good. Very good. Okay, let's move along to general business. Item A has, I think, been covered in the President's report, an update on the sewer negotiations. Mr. President, are you going to take any questions that the councilman may have on that issue, or do you want to go back through those stages that you are working toward and let us know a little bit more about those?
Since we're still ongoing with those negotiations and we're trying to, get a negotiation completed by the end of this year, I'd like to leave my comments limited at that, since this is an ongoing process. And we're just knowing that we're pushing forward with everything we got. A little disappointed that the appraisals were presented late in January instead of mid-December. But unfortunately, you know, they have to be done right. And this is a specialty type of appraisal done, and anybody can do these. So it has taken a little bit more time, but we're just trying to review to see if there's anything else that we may need to do or take care of. So as we get closer to these negotiation ends, that all the other stuff is taken care of, so that we can come together as a councilman and have full discussions of everything involved. I just don't know if we're there tonight to have those, because some things may change since we're not completely, or at least have something that is really close to being final. With that, I would like to have, you know, a little bit more time before we do a Q&A on the sewer deal, so that we don't have any miscommunication, not only with other council members or the council members, but also with the public. And that's what I fear the most, is miscommunication with the public. We would like to present them with facts and the benefits of this plan, and just try to minimize possible miscommunication. So.
Thank you, sir. I would like for you to run back through those stages that you mentioned earlier, if you would. Just because I wasn't expecting them at that time, and so I wasn't paying quite as close attention as I needed to. And I know that Mr. Ogeron has a question. I've seen his hand. Do you mind doing that, sir, so that I can make some notes of those things? Thank you.
Sure thing. So we anticipate the operating agreement to be about 90% complete. We have a couple details to work out, but I'm confident that all these issues will be resolved. I feel that we've come very close, but there are some things that have impact beyond the sewer into maybe other departments and other small details that we might make the attorneys to look at, make sure they give us clear, defined definitions on certain language. So we're really close, but all these things need to be worked out and complete in order for us to everybody to feel comfortable with how to describe and talk about these negotiations when they come complete. The milestone 2 is reaching an agreement on the appraised value. We were told the appraisals will be ready at the first part of January. I think and hope this will be a simple and quick negotiation once we get those appraisals done. Obviously, the appraisal price is very important as we move forward. April election to get the voters' approval. We're excited about the clean waterways that this contract will provide. We're excited about saving millions of dollars in subsidies in parish sewer, and be able to apply those to other things such as recreation, drainage, and transportation, and things that are very important to our residents. And I know they'll be excited about that. The administration is confident with the unified front that both the administration and council will be organized effort. The voters will approve this contract, and they'll feel comfortable that we've done our due diligence and we've worked hard, and I think they'll be happy to hear. Of course, not everybody will be satisfied. No one, not ever is 100% satisfied when it comes to the public or anyone else for that matter. So there's give and take there, but I think overall they'll be excited.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Ogeron.
Thank you, Terry. Mr. President, I think it was at the last meeting, or possibly the meeting before, we entered into a resolution to enter into a CEA with NWI to proceed with cleaning up or doing some additional work over at the Oak Grove facility. What's the status on that? Did you know?
I can only tell you what I know to my limited, so I don't want this to be 100% factual concrete, but from my understanding is I think they kind of didn't want to proceed down there on the operational side. And so we have sought an alternate plan B just in case. And that has worked out to where we can either replace it and spend the money, or we can do where we essentially lease use or lease the extra capacity, which may be the more affordable thing as this contract nears its end. So we're looking at both those avenues, and we'll be reporting that back to the council as soon as we have those numbers and those options available. As soon as they come, we'll try to put that on the first agenda. And that's, we can.
I appreciate that, sir. Listen, if you could, get someone from your office to call me so you and I can sit down next week to discuss those type of options. I spoke at the Gonzales Rotary Club earlier this week, and that was one of the questions that came up. So I'd like to chat with you guys and kind of coordinate some of that process, if at all possible.
If I could ask that the project for which the councilman's district it's in could attend,
Sure.
that would be okay? Thank you.
Oh, no. Do you mean Mr. Lawler and I have to share a room? We're kind of enjoying this Zoom stuff, you know.
It better be a big room.
It better be a big room with those egos. I got you.
And maybe even a padded room. I'm not really sure. Forgive me, gentlemen, I couldn't help that. All right. Thank y'all very much. You have anybody else have any questions of the parish president with relative to the sewer update? Thank you very much. Item B, approval to seek Attorney General's opinion on subsidizing funds from the general fund. This was requested of Mr. Ogeron at a previous meeting. We need to take that up. I think that's got to be addressed to legal counsel, so we'll be asking O'Neill about that, and then the chair will entertain a motion in a second to encourage that.
Motion.
Have a motion by Mr. Ogeron, a second by Mr. Cagnolati. Are there any questions? Any objections? Mr. Parrington, do you have any comments you want to make?
No, I'll request the opinion. I'll work on it this week and get it to him. I've done the research on it. I'm ready to ask. I know what we need to ask.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So in the hearing no objections, or did I ask, are there any objections? Hearing no objections, we will, the motion passes to approve and approves the seeking of an Attorney General's opinion relative to the subsidizing of funds from the general fund for sewer. Item C, approval to amend the contract with N Telecom Communications to correct a typo in the not to exceed amount from $79,500 to $77,500.
Motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Wagasback, a second by Mr. Ogeron. Are there any questions? Any objections? Hearing none, the motion to make that change is approved. Item D, amendment number 1 to professional services contract with Inmon Enterprises, doing business as Jana King of Baton Rouge, to include cleaning schedule for newly constructed courthouse. This is an additional amount of $120,000, and Mr. Ricky Compton will be handling that for us. Ricky, do you have any comment? Have a motion by Mr. Law, second by Mr. Ogeron. Does anybody have any questions? Mr. Cagnolati.
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. Is this strictly for the courthouse, adding the maintenance of the courthouse start beginning in January 1st or whenever it opens?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes, ma'am. Chair Lady, my question is that are we using the same company to spray in all our buildings, or are we giving some other companies any chances of doing business with the parish, or are we constantly using the same companies? What's the process in getting in other than using the same company we have that we've been coming up with?
This isn't to spray our buildings. This isn't to spray our buildings. This is for janitorial service for the new courthouse.
Okay, I understand that. I see.
Yeah, we went out to quote.
Excuse me?
We requested quotes, and this was the low quote.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Lawler.
Yes, Ricky, if you would, could you explain the difference in cost, the amount of savings that we're going to realize by using Jana King versus potentially other avenues in this?
Yes, sir. So when we were going through this process, we got with our head janitorial technician, and we tried to do our best to guesstimate what we thought it would cost for us to staff that building with full-time personnel. And we estimated it would cost us around $240,000 for the year between salaries, health, retirement, all those things that come with it. So when we went out and got quotes, the price that we ended up with was about $180,000. So it's a significant savings.
Thank you, Ricky.
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
Ricky.
Thank you. Mr. Thomas?
Yes, I was only indicating that I've only seen Janicare spray the buildings, and just wondering if they had anyone else that was applying for the chance to do so.
So with the spraying and
so
the disinfecting,
Janicare-
we have Yes, sir. So with the spraying and the disinfecting, we are no longer contracting that service out. We have purchased the machines and we are now doing all of that in-house. We got grant dollars to purchase those machines. We've actually bought a few more to supplement because they are big and bulky and a little difficult for some of our people to move around. But we now own those machines. We purchase the chemicals and we are doing it at a much reduced price from having a contractor perform that service.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I want to comment, I'm very glad to see that happening. I do believe that we are going to have, some long-term effects. I don't think that the new year is going to roll around and suddenly all the COVID's going to be gone. And so I'm glad that we're doing this. I think it's wonderful for going forward. I think it's going to have an impact on lots of other things in our buildings, like colds and flu and things that are just passed around in the building. So I'm very glad to see that we are doing this and we're doing it regularly and we're doing it at a reduced cost. Thank you for the innovation that you all participated in to get that done. Thank you so much. Okay, anybody else have any comment on that? Are there any objections? Hearing none, the motion to amend number 1 professional services contract is approved. Item E, certificate of substantial completion for the Donaldsonville Water Treatment Plant insertion valve, the Lemoyne Company. Is it, Mr. Ogeron, is that a motion?
Motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Ogeron. Do I have a second? Do I have a second? I have a second by Mr. Robert. If y'all will give me a 1 and a 2, that'll help me a lot. And are there any questions? I don't see any. Are there any objections? Hearing none, that motion passes. Item F, approval of a partial substantial completion, phase, excuse me, phase 1 of the Ascension Parish Courthouse, the Lemoyne Company. Excuse me. Have a motion by Mr. Cagnolotti, a second by Mr. Mason to approve the partial substantial completion of phase 1. Are there any questions? Any objections? Hearing none, that approval passes. Now, excuse me, it's gotten dry here. Item G, directive to parish administration to go out for requests for qualifications for insurance agent of record. I asked that this be added to the agenda. I would like to see us, I've asked many years. I know that Councilman Lawler has asked on several occasions. And of course, the first year of this administration, lots of things had to be done quickly. There was a lot to get accomplished in the transfer, and decisions were made early in the administration to make the move that they did. I want to make sure everybody understands that I am asking for this. I am not saying that I in any way am displeased with Mr. Hughes and his agency. I have full confidence in them. I know how qualified he is, but I believe that the public needs to know. And I think that for the sake of transparency, we need to have a request for qualifications, and that needs to be brought to us publicly. Are there any, do I have a motion to approve? I have a motion by Mr. Melanson, a second by Mr. Ogeron. Are there any questions? All right, any objections? Hearing none, that motion passes. Item H, amendment number 1 to a professional services contract with Curtis Environmental for sampling, testing, and reporting for LPDES permit compliance for all of ACUD number 2 sanitary facilities. I have a motion by Mr. Robert, second by Mr. Cagnolotti. Are there any questions? Mr. Ogeron.
Just for clarification, ACUD number 2 no longer exists. Do we need to rewrite that? That's an O'Neill question. Do we need
It's
to
gonna be fixed. It was put on the
rewrite
agenda
that
for
document
the
to?
parish. But it's gonna be dealing with the parish, yes.
So
Okay.
should we make it, should we amend this? Take out ACUD number 2?
The contract was with Ascension Parish anyway, but it's all the facilities that we take care of. We'll fix it in the contract.
So you're satisfied the contract is okay?
Right.
Okay. I caught that just this moment, and I wanted to make sure that we were, that we
We'll
were
fix the
paying somebody
contract.
$100,000 for something that no longer exists. So,
Right.
Good catch, Mr. Ogeron. I don't think anybody else got it. We appreciate it.
it just hit me, so I apologize, but good. Thanks, O'Neill.
No apology necessary. Thank you for the catch. We had a motion and a second. Are there any further questions? Any objections? Hearing none, the motion to amend number 1 passes. Item I, renewal of a master contract for professional services with Total Energy Solutions Company, LLC, not to exceed $40,350 for maintenance of generators at various locations around the parish. I have a motion by Mr. Mason, a second by Mr. Lambert. Are there any questions? Mr. Lambert, do you have a question? You're frozen there. I think you were frozen in the, okay, you got a question, Dempsey, or just the second?
No, I'm good with it.
Okay, so a motion and a second. Are there any objections? Hearing none, that contract is renewed. Item J, approval of a balancing change order number 1 for the Ashland to St. Landry Connector Project. Is Mr. Joey Turo there? I have a motion by Ms. Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Ogeron, a second by Mr. Mason. Mr. Turo, do you want to explain what this is about?
It had a few items that overran. It was a pretty straightforward roadway project, but it is in a very, the original ground was very wet. It was a fairly boggy area. The reason for the overrun, the majority of the reason of the overrun was to cut lime in the existing soil. Typically, whenever a contractor puts plans together, when the consultant puts plans together, they usually allocate 10% lime for the entirety of the project. Well, we needed lime on 100% of the project. So that's the reason why it overran the way it did. We did add some signs at the St. Landry end that mimic those. If you've been there, there's signs indicating the end of the road. That's very important, and the plans only had it on one end, the Ashland Road end, so we added it on the St. Landry end also. But if you've seen the road, it came out very nice.
Thank you very much. We appreciate all that hard work, and we look forward to driving on that road. And I know the folks around that area certainly do as well. So we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Mr. Melanson.
I'm just letting you know that one of us already gets to drive it every day, and it is a pleasure.
Thank you. Very good. Thank you for that. We built that just for you, Chase.
Yeah.
Mr. Robert.
No question. I'm just plugging in.
All right, no problem. Thank you very much. So are there any objections? Hearing none, that motion passes. Item K, approval of substantial completion for the Ashland to St. Landry Connector Project. I have a motion by Mr. Ogeron, second by Mr. Cagnolati. Are there any questions? Any objections? Hearing none, the approval of substantial completion for the Ashland St. Landry Project is approved. Item L has been passed, and we will move on to item 7, introduction of ordinances. Introduction of an ordinance to amend the Ascension Parish zoning map from medium intensity residential RM to light industrial LI, zoning review IDPZ 2449.20, Lot A1 of the subdivision of Lot A2 and Lot A and Lot B, of the estate of Mary R. Palmer into lots A1 and B1 for Colby Palmer, located on the south side of LA Highway, whoops, it's not on the 74, approximately 300,000 feet west of Airline Highway. Need a motion to introduce. Have a motion by Mr. Robert to introduce. Item B, introduction of an ordinance to amend an ordinance adopted on June 4th, 2020, amending section 16-1 of the Ascension Parish Code of Ordinances adopted by the Ascension Parish Council on June 20th, 1996, adopting a pay classification plan. Have a motion to introduce by Mr. Mason. Item 8A, reading of an ordinance to amend Chapter 18, Article 9, Section 18-90, Ascension Parish Communication Districts to mandate that commissioners be appointed by various government to the various government or public safety entities. Mr. Parrington.
To amend the Ascension Parish Code of Ordinances, Chapter 18, Political Subdivisions, Autonomous Boards, Commissions, and Authorities, Article 9, Communications District, Section 1890, Ascension Parish Communications District. Whereas Louisiana Revised Statute 339103 authorizes the parish governing authority to appoint a board of commissioners composed of 7 members to govern the affairs of the communications district created within the parish. Whereas Louisiana Revised Statute 339103 requires members of the board to be qualified elected to the district, 2 of whom shall be appointed for 2-year terms, 3 for 3 terms, for terms of 3 years, and 2 for terms of 4 years dating from the adoption of the ordinance creating the district. Whereas Louisiana Revised Statute 339103 requires all appointments thereafter to be terms of 4 years. Whereas the Ascension Parish Code, Ascension Parish Ordinance, Chapter 18, Section 9, Section 1890, does not mandate that the Public Board of Commissioners be appointed from a specific governmental entity or public safety agency. Whereas it is desired of the Ascension Parish Communications District Board to amend the Ascension Parish Ordinance 18, Section 9, Section 18.9 to specify that and mandate that commissioners be appointed from a specific governmental entity or public safety agency. Now therefore be it ordained by the Ascension Parish Governing Authority of the Code of Ordinances of Ascension Parish, Chapter 18, Political Subdivision, Autonomous Boards and Commissions and Authorities, Article 9, Communication District, Section 1890 be amended to specify and mandate that the commissioners be appointed from government entities or public safety agencies more fully described in Exhibit A attached to a part hereof. And if any portion of the ordinance ever held invalid or unconstitutional for any reason by any court of competent jurisdiction over it, such portion shall be deemed separate, distinct, and independent provisions shall not affect the literal remaining portions of the ordinance. This ordinance has been submitted to a vote. The vote thereon was as follows.
Motion to move on the
Have a
ordinance.
motion by Mr. Cagnolotti, a second by Mr. Mason to move the ordinance. Are there any questions? Any objections? Hearing none, that motion passes. Item D, to create a road infrastructure district designated as Parish of Ascension Road Infrastructure District, IDD 202004, Pelican Crossing, 5th filing, pursuant to the Ascension Parish Unified Land Development Code, Appendix 4, Subdivision Regulations, Section 17-4011, approval of the final plat. Procedure F, Infrastructure Development District. Mr. Parrington.
The Greater Road Infrastructure District designated as Parish of Ascension Road Infrastructure District number IDD 202004 pursuant to the Ascension Parish Unified Land Development Code, Appendix 4, Subdivision Regulations, Section 174011, approval of final plat procedure F, Infrastructure Development District. Whereas the Parish of Ascension is local government subdivision is defined by Article 6, Section 44, Louisiana Constitution 1974. Whereas the Parish of Ascension is governing and responsible body over subdivisions, and whereas Article 6 of the Home Rule Charter of Ascension Parish, adopted May 4, 1993, identifies the process and manner in which adopt ordinances regulating the lands of this parish. Now, therefore, be it ordained by the Ascension Parish Governing Authority that Road Infrastructure District designated as Ascension Road Infrastructure IDD 2020-04 be created pursuant to the Unified Land Development Code of Ascension Parish, Louisiana, Appendix 4, Subdivision Regulations, Section 174011, approval of final plat procedure F, Infrastructure Development District with the boundaries of the road infrastructure district defined and is made a part of the subdivision of Ascension Parish named Pelican Crossing. Fifth filing is more fully described in Exhibit A. Petition and exhibit to create the Ascension Parish Road Infrastructure District attached here to and made a part hereof. And if any portion of the ordinance is ever held invalid or unconstitutional for any reason by any court of any competent jurisdiction over it, such portion shall be deemed separate, distinct, and independent provision, shall not affect the validity of remaining portions of the ordinance. This ordinance shall be in full effect as permitted by law. The ordinance has been submitted to a vote. The vote thereon was as follows.
Thank you very much. The chair would entertain a motion to move the ordinance. Have a motion by Mr. Mason, second by Mr. Lawler to move the ordinance. Are there any questions? Any objections? Hearing none, the ordinance to create that road infrastructure district is passed. We are about ready to adjourn. It's the end of the year. It's the last meeting of the year. I want to thank all of you. It's been a difficult year. I can't begin to tell you how much I appreciate each one of you. I want to wish you and all of your families a very Merry Christmas, very Happy New Year. I also want to wish the citizens of Ascension Parish the same. Merry Christmas. I love that, Mr. Cagnalotti. But I want to take just 1 second. Oh, beautiful. I want to take 1 second to caution the citizens, you all and the citizens of our community. We have a 13% positivity rate. COVID is running rampant in our community. Please wash your hands, social distance, wear a mask. I just returned myself from out of this country. People wear their mask religiously. It is not an imposition on them. It is what they do to protect their families, to protect themselves, and to protect others. So I encourage you to wear your mask. I actually got pretty comfortable in mine. I would forget to take it off. And so please do that. Have a wonderful holiday season. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. See you all in January.
Merry Christmas, Terry.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Does someone want to adjourn us?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Thank you. Great year.